known as the parable of the prodigal son or the lost son. But when you really look deep into it, when you kind of scratch the surface and you look a little deep and you pull up some dirt, you will find and understand that this son was not the only lost one. In fact, as I looked at it a little more deeper this week, I found and understood that the other brother had more problems than the younger brother. So today, last week, we talked about the envious son, and on today, we're going to talk about the complaining son. When we look at this thing, we understand that this brother had some issues. He had some problems and some issues. We know we're talking about complaining. And oftentimes we, as believers, find ourselves complaining from time to time. Amen. Some more than others. Amen. But I believe that we are all guilty of complaining at one time or another. Yes. In fact, if you look at it from a global perspective, if you talk to individuals from other parts and remote parts of the globe, they will tell you that Americans are the most blessed but complaining people on the planet. I know it's going to be quiet. It's okay. It's okay. If our Wi-Fi's not working, we complain. If the AC's not working, we complain. If the music's too low, we complain. If the music's too high, we complain. If the preacher preached too short, we complain. If he preached too long, we complain. Yes. If there's pews, we complain. If there's chairs, we complain. If the boss says something, we complain. The boss doesn't say something, we complain. We complain. Amen. Come on, somebody gonna help me with this message. If I get a couple of amens, I swear to you, I'll be out of your way in a few moments. I'm just trying to go somewhere. I'm pretty sure. In fact, I said, I'm going to start with me. I complain a lot. And until God had really sat me down and spoke to me about this, I didn't really realize how much I actually complain. I really don't have much validity in my complaints. But I complain a lot. I complain about this and I complain about that, but if I looked at it from an aerial view, I'd understand that the things I complain about are really minor. Amen. They're really minuscule things. If I shared with somebody over in Iraq or Afghanistan the problems that I have, they'll probably laugh at me. The things we complain about. So here in the text, as we know, Jesus is speaking in a parable. It's interesting because he's not only talking to his disciples about this parable, but there are some other people in the crowd who he's trying to get their attention, and the reason why he's saying what he's saying. This parable, its overall theme is about the love of God and how he looks at his children. See, because each and every one of us have been prodigal at one time or another. Yes, even if we were born in church, we still were born in sin, so we were separated from God, so we were still considered spiritually prodigal. Yes. We were actually born in a far country because we were born in separation from God. Our sin had us separated from God. And so Jesus is speaking in a parable, and he's talking about this father and his love for his son. That he loved his son so much that when this younger son came to him, and he not only did he ask for his inheritance, but he demanded his inheritance from his father, and his father just gave it to him. He gave it to him. He says, go, and if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. Younger son goes out, squanders the money, as we know, and he had an epiphany, and he came to his senses. The light bulb came. Sometimes we've been in situations where We were in a piggy den. We were in some nasty, dirty situations, and we came to our senses and said, I gotta wake up. I can do better than what I'm doing right now. So he came to his senses and he got up and he says, listen, I need to go back to my father. So he goes back to the father and he says, Father, I have not only sinned against you, but I sinned against heaven. And as I was researching this, I understand that this phrase here was not even really totally sincere. This phrase here could have been taken as some type of manipulation. Manipulating the father for the father to accept him because he realized that he had messed up. And sometimes don't we do that? We find ourselves in situations and we give God the manipulation. Oh God, if you get me out of this situation, you'll never see me back in it again. Come on, I'm the only one that's been there. I know you. God, if you get me, I've sinned against you, but if you get me out of this situation, I promise you, I'll never go back to it again. Manipulation. But if you understand and know God, God knows everything. He knows past, present, and future. He knows our hearts. He knows our minds. He knows our motives. We cannot manipulate God. And so the father sees him from afar, as we talked about last week. The father ran to him and he says, get a robe for him, get a ring, and get him some Gucci slippers. He says, I want you to get him some Gucci slippers. Get him a robe, get him a ring, and put some Gucci slippers on him. Now, understanding the culture from what this young boy did by the father telling the servants to get him a robe and a ring and some sandals, what he was essentially saying was that you're back in the house. I accept you. We're going to start off with a clean slate. We're going to start off fresh. We're going to start off new. I'm just happy to see you. I'm just happy you're home. But while this is going on, Jesus says, and now we're getting into the meat of this thing. I just had to lead up to this. Now, even though this celebration is going on, the father says, get him a ring, get him a robe and put some Gucci sandals on him. And he says, and go kill a fatted calf. While all of this is going on, there's an older complaining son who Jesus describes. It's interesting that he describes him as in the field working. And though he is identified as the brother that stayed home, he was actually lost in his work. See, you can be underneath God in the house and still be lost in your work. The oldest son is approaching the house. He's finished with work. I'm paraphrasing this. I'm pretty sure he wants to go home and take a shower because he's been in the field working all day. And Jesus says that he hears music and hears dancing. Now, why in the world would he stop and ask a servant what is going on if he hears music and he hears dancing? Because Lord knows if I hear music and I hear dancing in my house, I know it's going to be a party. And you know, oftentimes when there's a party, it ain't because it's bad news. So apparently there had to have been something good going on in the house. But since this brother had a complaining spirit, he was looking for something to complain about. The question is, why didn't he just walk into the house if he had the keys? He wasn't the brother that left, so he didn't lose his rights to the house. In fact, he just left the house this morning to go to work. So if he came home and there's a party going on, why just walk up in the house and join the party. See, but when we have a complaining spirit, even though there's a celebration going on, we're going to still find something to complain about. Sometimes we complain so much that even in celebration, even in the midst of a baptism, somebody will find something to complain about. Even in the midst of a baby being born, somebody gonna find something to complain about. Even at a wedding ceremony, somebody's gonna have something to complain about. In fact, even at your birthday party, everybody that you invited personally, I guarantee you, if you talk to everybody, somebody had something to complain about. There are some people that no matter what you tell them, they will find a way to complain. The older brother hears a celebration going on in his house, and he's got a problem. So he asks the servant, he says, what's going on? And the servant tells him, he says, listen, there's a feast, there's a festival going on, there's a party going on because your brother who left and who was lost came back home. So he says, wait a minute. I ain't never had no party. He says, I ain't never had no fatted calf. Now watch this. Understand that the fatted calf wasn't even really for the younger son. During this time, if there was a fatted calf killed, it was for multiple people to eat from. It was to make a community event. It was so that everybody in Poughkeepsie could come get a piece. So somebody came here and they saw everybody having a good time. And they roll up and say, well, y'all ain't never threw no party for me. Joker, why don't you just stop complaining and just come on in and join the party? You hear music, you hear dancing. Obviously, there's a celebration, so why don't you just join on in? But this brother's got a problem. So he finds out that the father had told them to give him a ring and a robe and kill the fatted calf. He wasn't really too mad about the robe and the ring, nor the Gucci sandals. Because in fact, he had his own inheritance. In fact, 2/3 of the inheritance was his. The younger brother only got 1/3. The Bible says that when the younger brother came and asked for his inheritance, the Bible says that the father had split it. But according to customs, it wasn't split 50-50. 1/3 went to the younger son, and 2/3 went to the elder son. Now, watch this. Though he was living in the house, he did not have total possession of it, but it was accounted to him. It was in his account. What he was mad about was that there was a feast, a festival going on, a party going on, and it wasn't for him. Do we find ourselves sometimes complaining because somebody else is getting blessed and we're counting the times that we didn't get blessed? Lord, I've been asking you to bless me with a new car. How sister so-and-so got a new car? Lord, I've been asking you to bless me with a new house. So how in the world did sister so-and-so get a new house? She made half the money I make. He was going in the house and stopped his progress to ask the servant what was going on. See, See, when we look to complain, we ask the obvious questions. It says that he heard the music and heard the dancing, so that was a stupid question. Complaining affects three things, and I'll be out of your way. One, complaining affects our commodity. Though the elder son knew the amount of his inheritance, it was still under the control of his father. Now watch this. Now because the Bible says that he became angry, he refused to go in the house. So by him refusing to go in the house, what he was saying was not only did he have a problem with his other brother, who he wasn't even claiming as his brother now he's got a problem with his father. Now, even though the inheritance was already split to him, the actual inheritance was still in control of his father. You gotta be careful how you try to bite the hand that feeds you. The father goes out to him to try to plead with him and explain to him what's going on, and he gets ratchet with the father. He says, look, he didn't even call him father. He says, look, everything that I've done, I've been here, I've been working, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, complaining. I've been faithful, and then you're going to turn around and give him a party because he shows up. Bite the hand that feeds you. Complaining affects our communion. According to Middle Eastern culture at the time, the older brother would have been the mediator or the one to reconcile the bad blood between the father and the son. Don't miss that. So instead of him stepping up to the plate and doing what his job was as the older brother, he complained. It was so selfish and so self-centered that he stepped out and stayed outside the house and said, I don't want to have nothing to do with this because this is not about me, and miss his opportunity to step up to the plate and do what he was supposed to do. Be careful when you complain, because when we complain, we step out of the place in which we're supposed to be. His job was to be the mediator, the one to reconcile, to come in and say, listen, Dad, listen, son, listen, brother, whatever's going on is behind us now. I'm so glad that you're here. Let us celebrate together and let us keep this great relationship. But instead, he let his complaining spirit get to him. See, remember, when you speak things through your mouth, see, the tongue has the power of life and death in it. Amen. Your tongue has the power to either bring things to life or either murder things. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt, when God had brought them out of Egypt and was bringing them into the promised land, they got on their leaders' nerves, Moses' nerves, because they kept what? Complaining. In fact, they complained so much to Moses that he got mad and struck the rock when God told him to speak to the rock. Complaining, not realizing how blessed they were and how much more blessed they were getting ready to be. Oh, you see, I know sometimes we don't see it, but in our state, when things aren't the way that we want it to be or expect it to be, I dare you not to complain, but just lift up a praise to God and just thank him for the things that you have. Thank him for the things that are going good, and keep your mind positive. I tell you that complaining spirit will be removed because you won't feed it. spirit has to be fed. And the more we focus on negativity, we'll always find something to complain about. Last thing, and I'm finished. Complaining affects our community. The brother was really angry because the father killed the fatted calf. This fatted calf was for large gatherings, and so essentially it wasn't just for the younger brother, but it was for everybody. Picture the scene. The younger brother comes. The father tells him, go kill the fatted calf. The whole community is there. The older brother could have used this opportunity to network, to fellowship, to have a good time, to bond with his brother and his father. But yet he allowed his selfishness, his self-centeredness, and his complaining mouth and spirit not allow him to go in to where the blessing was. Watch this. There are some things that God has for you that is inside the house that you don't want to go into. There are people that God wants you to network with that are going to bring you to your next level, to your next destiny, but they're in the house that you don't want to go into. And you're staying outside the house because you got a problem with somebody in the house, but not realizing that there's somebody else in the house that's got a blessing for you. See, sometimes you've got to be able to work around and go around some uncomfortable situations to get to your blessing. See, sometimes we want our blessings too easy. We want everything our way. We want to just come to the door and knock on the doorbell and have somebody in a bellhouse who say, come on in. No, sometimes you might knock on the door and the devil may enter it. But you've got to have enough courage. You've got to have enough strength to say, devil, I know I'm supposed to be here. Get out my way. There's somebody in there that's got a blessing for me. There's somebody in there that God told me to talk to. And if I don't talk to them, if I don't speak to them, if I don't get their contact information, I'm not going to be able to go to where God is trying to take me. Refuse. He says, I'm not going in. The mayor's there, but I ain't going in. The governor's there, but I ain't going in. My next business opportunity's in there, but I'm not going in. There are some places that God wants you to go, but there are going to be some people that you got a problem with. And if you don't have enough courage, if you don't have enough strength, if you don't have enough resilience to look past those people, because I'm not here for the people. I'm here, I need to go talk to my Father. It all began with a complaining spirit. This brother thought he was more righteous than the other brother, but really, in fact, he was more messed up than him. At least the younger brother had a little compassion. At least the younger brother had a little Because the older brother, he was basing things on his ability to do things right. And so he felt entitled. And when we feel entitled and things don't go our way, we complain. God doesn't owe us anything. That's why Mother Lewis, I love when the mothers used to say, if God don't do anything else, he's already done enough. If God don't bless me with one more thing, I'm still going to praise him. If God don't do one more thing for me, I'm still going to worship him. If God doesn't do anything else, I'm still going into his house. I don't care if the devil's at the door. I don't care if it's inside the door. I don't care who's in there. I come to the house to give my God. If you know what I'm talking about, if there's anybody in here who's willing to give God praise through hell and high water, who's willing to bypass people that got problems